You went keto to feel sharp and in control. Instead, you feel wrecked. New fatigue, dizzy when you stand. Your heart starts racing for no reason. Anxiety that feels chooge and electrical. Stomach pain, nausea, headaches that keep coming back. Then sleep falls apart, like somebody flipped a switch. That is the contradiction nobody warns you about. Some discomfort can be part of the change, but some patterns are your body waving a red flag. There is a line between normal and not normal. Moving to slide 2. The first week can feel weird, and that does not automatically mean something is wrong. A mild headache that gets a little better each day. Brief cramps that show up, then settle. A short energy dip, then a noticeable rebound as your appetite steadies and your mind clears. That is a rough adjustment, but it trends upward. Not normal is when symptoms escalate over days. Headaches get stronger, not softer. Dizziness becomes frequent, especially when you stand. Sleep keeps getting worse. Heart racing becomes a daily event. Nausea and stomach pain don't settle. They spread into your whole day. When the trend is downward, stop blaming keto flu and start looking for the simple fixes first. Most of the time, the first culprit is not a lack of carbs. It is fluid loss hiding in plain sight. Moving to slide 3. Keto makes you drop water fast, and you can feel dehydrated even if you are still sipping all day. Watch for dry mouth, dark urine, and dizziness when you stand up. Notice if your pulse jumps when you walk upstairs or even just move around the house. That fast pulse with movement is a big clue. Add head pressure, brain fog, and leg cramps at night, and it starts to look less like low energy and more like low volume. What to do today? Set a hydration target and measure it, not guess it. Spread water across the day and add more around workouts, heat, and alcohol. Then retest your symptoms over the next 24 hours. If standing dizziness and racing heart improve quickly, you just found the lever. And if they do not, it is time to think less about calories and more about minerals. Moving to slide 4. If you feel weak, shaky, twitchy, or crampy on keto, don't assume you need more fat. This cluster often points to electrolytes. A thudding heartbeat, palpitations, pins and needles, and constipation that suddenly gets stubborn can all show up when sodium, potassium, and magnesium are off. Fix the minerals and the keto is ruining me feeling often fades fast. If you still feel shaky and weirdly panicky, there is another common lookalike. Moving to slide 5. Some keto symptoms feel exactly like hypoglycemia even when your blood sugar is not dangerously low. You get shaky, sweaty, hungry, snappy, or suddenly confused. You wake at 3 a.m. wired and restless. You feel worse after exercise. Then you feel better after eating, which makes you assume you needed carbs. What to do is to change the timing and composition of what you already eat. If mornings are rough, make breakfast higher in protein and not just coffee plus fat. If 3 a.m. wake-ups are common, bring dinner earlier and make it protein-forward with enough total calories. If workouts trigger symptoms, stop training fasted for a week and add sodium and water before you start. If your symptoms keep escalating, or you get fainting, chest pain, or confusion that doesn't clear, treat that as a danger signal, not a diet problem. Moving to slide 6. These are danger zone symptoms where you stop trying to push through and you get urgent medical help. Chest pain or pressure is the big one, especially if it spreads to your arm, jaw, back, or comes with sweating or nausea. Severe shortness of breath at rest or that ramps up fast is another. Fainting or near fainting is not just low electrolytes until proven otherwise, because it can signal a heart rhythm problem, dehydration so severe your blood pressure drops, or a clot. Confusion, slurred speech, or one-sided weakness are stroke warning signs, even if they come and go. Do not drive yourself. Call emergency services or have someone take you now. If you have a glucose meter, check it, but do not let a not that high number talk you out of getting help. When your body throws these red flags, the safest move is rapid evaluation, not more willpower. Moving to slide 7. If you have type 1 diabetes, or you use insulin and can develop ketosis, high glucose plus ketones is an emergency. Pay attention to vomiting, belly pain, rapid deep breathing, fruity or acetone breath, extreme thirst, and signs of dehydration, like very dry mouth, dizziness when standing, or barely peeing. A sick day is when risk spikes because stress hormones push glucose up while you may be eating less or missing insulin. The move is simple and urgent. Check blood glucose and check ketones early, not hours later. Keep taking basal insulin unless your clinician has told you otherwise. Sip fluids, and if you can tolerate them, include electrolytes and some carbohydrate so insulin can be used safely. If you cannot keep fluids down, your breathing is fast, you feel confused, or ketones stay moderate to high, you need emergency care. DKA is treatable, but it is not something to sleep off, especially when vomiting keeps going. Moving to slide 8. Gallbladder problems often show up when fat intake goes up fast. The classic pattern is right upper belly pain, sometimes a strong ache or cramp that starts after a fatty meal and can last for hours. It may radiate to your right shoulder blade. You might feel nauseated, and some people notice greasy, pale, hard-to-flush stools when bile flow is impaired. If you get fever, chills, or yellowing of the skin or eyes, that is not a wait-and-see situation, because infection or blockage is possible. Your immediate play is to stop doing fat challenges to test yourself. Keep meals lower fat, stay hydrated, and get evaluated, especially if the pain is recurrent or severe. Do not assume it is just reflux or a keto flu symptom. When pain follows fat like a switch, that pattern is your clue to take the organ side of the equation seriously. Moving to slide 9. Sometimes your gut gives earlier, quieter warnings. Constipation that becomes painful. Diarrhea that reliably hits after high-fat meals. Reflux that suddenly escalates, or bloating that keeps building week by week are signals to change course and get help if they persist. Blood in the stool is never a normal side effect of a diet. If patterns are tightening instead of improving, your body is asking for a safer plan, not more restriction. Moving to slide 10. Over-restriction can also push your thyroid signaling down over time, even if your labs once looked fine. If you are getting colder than usual, your hair shedding ramps up, your periods become irregular, or your energy keeps dropping, look at the most basic variable first. Have calories been too low for too long? Bring your intake up gradually, prioritize protein, add carbs if you have been extremely low, and reduce training volume until sleep, mood, and hunger cues stabilize. If symptoms persist, get thyroid labs plus iron and other basics checked, because deficiencies can mimic thyroid problems. Your metabolism is not a moral issue. It is a feedback system, and medication can change the rules of that system in ways you need to account for. Moving to slide 11. If you are changing carbs, fasting, or going ketogenic, your medications can change the rules. Insulin and sulfonylureas can drop your glucose fast when carbs go down, so a dose that used to be fine can become too much. Some blood pressure meds may suddenly feel stronger as you lose water and sodium, leaving you lightheaded when you stand. Diuretics and lithium are especially sensitive to fluid and salt shifts, so dehydration can become a real problem. And if you take an SGLT2 inhibitor, low carbs or fasting can raise the risk of euglycemic ketoacidosis, even when glucose is not high. The big point is this: if meds are in the mix, your plan is not just food. It is dosing, hydration, and monitoring working together. Moving to slide 12. If something feels off, pause strictness and stabilize first. That means stop pushing deeper fasting or stricter carbs for the moment. Check your glucose, and if you have symptoms like nausea, abdominal pain, rapid breathing, or unusual fatigue, check ketones too, especially if you are on an SGLT2 inhibitor. Rebuild fluids and minerals right away. Water plus sodium, potassium, and magnesium from food or an appropriate electrolyte can make a night and day difference. If you jumped fat very quickly, ease back to a comfortable amount while you stabilize, since very high fat can worsen nausea in some people. Then call your clinician with data, not guesses. Your recent doses, glucose readings, ketones, blood pressure, weight change, and symptoms give them what they need to adjust safely. Moving to slide 13. When you want a safe exit and reset, change one lever at a time. Add carbs, but choose real food carbs, not sugar. Think yogurt, fruit, beans, oats, or potatoes in measured portions. Keep protein steady, because steady protein helps appetite control, and prevents muscle loss while you troubleshoot. Lower fat to comfort, especially if you feel heavy, queasy, or have reflux, since fat can slow gastric emptying and worsen those symptoms. Hydrate with balanced minerals, not plain water only, so you do not dilute sodium further. After a few stable days, you can reintroduce a lower carb approach slowly if you still want it, using your symptoms and measurements as your guardrails. That is how you stay in control instead of reacting to surprises. Moving to slide 14. For the next 7 days, track your symptoms, glucose, and anything you changed, once or twice a day. Make one change at a time so you can actually learn what helped. Do not stack fasting on top of a new diet change while you are still troubleshooting. If symptoms persist or you are on high-risk meds, ask for labs through your clinician. Subscribe for more practical guides like this. Comment your symptom pattern and what meds you are on so I can help you think through the safest next step. This is educational content and not medical advice. Talk with a licensed clinician before changing medications, fasting, or diet, and seek urgent care for severe symptoms. Metabolism first. Everything else follows.